If you feel like you need someone to talk to, if you feel like you might benefit from some additional assistance or guidance or support, just call, just do it, and then we'll figure out together how we can help take some of that stress off of you.
Legacy Foundation is Lake County's community foundation. For over 30 years, we've partnered with donors and nonprofits, focusing on youth development, the arts, the environment, health, literacy, and other causes that matter to you. We're committed to Lake County forever. First Things First Porter County is dedicated to supporting families, healthy beginnings, and quality early learning, ensuring every Porter County baby is born prepared for a strong start in life. Learn more at firstthingspc.org.
I have a very strong connection to other students. Everyone makes an effort to help each other. I'll remember the feeling of being here, the feeling that I was a part of a family.
Additional support for Building Blocks is provided generously by Tom Sorlis and Sue Eleuterio, as well as Porter County Community Foundation, serving Porter County since 1996.
Building Blocks, the podcast, is a co-production of Lakeshore Public Media and First Things First Porter County. For more information on Building Blocks, including this podcast, as well as the television show, visit lakeshorepublicmedia.org/buildingblocks.
Hi, welcome to Building Blocks. Today I'm speaking with Payton Summers from Help Me Grow Porter County. I'm excited to hear about the work that she's doing to support families and young children in our community. Payton, welcome to Building Blocks.
Hi, thank you.
Glad to have you here today.
Yes, so excited.
You just bring a ray of sunshine to families and children across Porter County. And I'm curious to hear a little bit more. Help Me Grow. Tell me about what that is.
So Help Me Grow is a resource referral service for families. Our goal is to take a family that is in need of a resource and help get them connected. A lot of times families don't know what all is out there and available to them, so they can call into us and we do whatever we can to help get them connected appropriately to the resources that they need.
So they call into you, and what happens? They pick up the phone, it rings a few times, and you answer and you say what?
I thank them for calling, and we just kind of jump in to talk about what it is that they're calling for. How did you hear about us? Get an understanding of what they think they're calling, and then take whatever situation they're dealing with, talk it through, give any support that we may be able to offer, and then that may result in just a direct, here's a place that I know that's going to be able to help you. Or it may be, all right, give me a little bit of time, let me get back to you, do some research, and then get back to them with a list of places that they could call. Or sometimes it results in meeting up with them and walking through that situation. It just depends on case by case what it is that they're calling for.
It's so hard sometimes as a family to know who to call, when to call, is my concern warranted, all those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. I know that we did a study with First Things First, and we heard loud and clear that families want to connect with a real live person, so that's you, right? Mm-hmm. And they want to dial a phone number that is in the 219 area code.
Yes.
That checks that box.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be in the Central Time Zone. Help Me Grow, check. That's fantastic. So we also know that across Northwest Indiana, we have so many resources for families with young children, trying to make this really hard time of being a new family with a newborn or an infant or a toddler. We have a lot, but it's really hard to know. So how do you know where all these resources are? What kinds of homework are you doing to discover those resources?
The last year has really just been exploration for me. Just with the partnerships that we have for Help Me Grow, have made so many connections, which are so valuable, so appreciated. And then I spend a ton of my time just, I'll connect with an agency and say, hey, can I get together with a relevant person with you guys and get together and talk. Let me tell you what Help Me Grow is, and you tell me everything about the services that you offer. What is the eligibility? Do you have a waiting list? Who can come to you? And really just have all those facts about these places, because a huge goal is wanting to connect a family to what's going to be the most beneficial to them, not send them on this wild chase of, well, you could try this, and this, and just already know what the requirements are and if they meet them before we send them to that place.
So kind of cutting out some of those pieces that can be really frustrating. And as a new parent, you may not have time to make the phone call, leave the message, wait for the phone call back, maybe not get the phone call back.
Yeah.
So you really serve as that person to do that, which is an amazing service.
Yeah, we will even, as far as, right, the goal is to take a little bit of that weight off of the parents' shoulders. They may not even want to call me, but if they did, then what can I do to make it easier for you moving forward? If it is me calling all of those places for them and speaking on their behalf with their permission, then that's what we'll do. If I spend the whole day doing that, that's what I'm going to do.
That's your job.
Yeah.
Payton, that's such a unique skill that you have to be able to connect not just with the families who are in need of resources, but also with those providers who have the resources. Mm-hmm. What got you started down this pathway?
So I have been with Opportunity Enterprises for 8 years. There's a whole history there, but for the last few years, I landed in this family resource specialist role. And that's really what gave me a passion for it, and what started getting me connected with so many different places in the community. Opportunity Enterprises is serving one population, but when somebody makes that call to me and we have a conversation and I give them the information that they desperately are needing, I've had so many experiences where before we hang up the phone, the family's telling me, like, our lives are changed after this conversation. We had no idea what all was out there. And that's just something, how can you not be passionate about that,
I just got goosebumps.
I do too, and I get it every time I talk about it. But yeah.
That's so powerful.
It is.
To know that you've made just that really hard time of having a little one a little bit easier.
Yes.
In your research, because it's really been this like year-long anthropological, sociological, psychological study that you've been doing, investigating all these different resources, what has surprised you the most?
Again, just surprising as to how many different resources are out there. You can go into just one category of resources, and then there's a whole list. It surprises me how sometimes they just don't seem available to people, or that people have no idea that they exist. Mm-hmm. Or maybe how difficult it is for them to actually make contact with some places.
We keep using the word resource, and that's kind of a catch-all term, isn't it? It means a lot of different things to different people. When you think of resources, what comes to mind?
Help, assistance, guidance, support, whatever it is that's going to help alleviate whatever their situation is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a lot out there. We often say that we have, we're resource rich, but systems limited. There's just not one way to find that pathway to the help that you might need, and every family needs something different.
Yeah.
And let's be real, like every family needs something.
Yes.
So you say you're a parent yourself, you were a young mom. What are some of the resources that you know about now that you wish you had known about when you had little ones?
There is diaper assistance. There is daycare assistance. There is just emotional support. There are mom groups. There's groups for your children, play groups. There's lines that you can call or apps that you can just download to check your child's milestones. And a lot of those things I didn't really know existed. Sometimes you feel like you're just trucking through, and
It can be pretty lonely.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see that changing at all for families now?
I hope so. I think that's the ultimate goal, to really reach as many, if not all, of the families, to let them know that we're here and what we're here for, because that can start before that baby's even born and then carry on through. And I really hope to just be able to gain those relationships with our community members and our families and their children, just so that they know who I am and who Help Me Grow is and what we're here for, so that when they're experiencing something, they're like, I know who to call, and at the very least, we can offer support,
Payton, I often call you the fairy godmother because you really do have that about you. You are really just sprinkling good vibes everywhere and glitter all over. And I'm not to make light of the challenges that so many families face, but how do families find you? Like, is there a phone number? What is a website?
Yes, we have a Help Me Grow website. There is a Help Me Grow phone line. We have some different marketing materials, and I sometimes joke about this and say that I just take our pamphlets and throw them in the streets, and but just asking providers to keep our information in their lobbies, or to share it with families, or put it in their bags, that little gift bags, or however they can spread the information.
And I know that Help Me Grow is not just that centralized resource where people can call. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that really help to build up our system across the community as well. So I know one of those is the emphasis on developmental screening.
Yes.
Why is it so important that we have these developmental screenings for families?
That's a huge topic. It's really important because if you are waiting until after that delay is already established, then that's just going to continue, on. If you catch that as soon as possible, there are, again, different resources, different therapies, different options for these families to help correct those things. And it's important to do that in a timely manner and make sure that families know that these screenings and these options are available to them. Even just a slight wonder, like, should they be doing this? Or, look into it, because you may be preventing something, from furthering.
And earlier is better. We know
Absolutely.
that decades of research now has shown that the earlier we can intervene when we suspect that there might be a delay or that there might be just a glitch in meeting those milestones. There are lots of ways to support that.
Yeah.
I know you've been involved with one of our projects with First Things First in partnership with our libraries and also with KidWorks, Books, Blocks, and Balls.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Books, Blocks, and Balls and what that involves.
Yes. I am obsessed with Books, Blocks, and Balls. It's so much fun. It's a play group, essentially. Anybody can come. We rotate all around the Porter County Public Library system. So every other week, we are at a different location. Families come. We have different stations set up for them, for the kids to just play and go crazy and have fun. We have developmental therapists that attend as well and just model play for the families and for the kids. We're all down there on the floor playing and having fun. They also demonstrate just productive play with the kids. And we call them early childhood specialists so that families don't think that their children are at a screening event. It's very light, it's very fun, and it's really open for them to just be able to say like, hey, here's something that I noticed, or, and we let them know, like, we have these early childhood specialists here for you to talk about if you have questions about development. Some parents are like, okay, and then some are like, oh boy, do we have questions, you know? And that's really important because this isn't them having to make a doctor's appointment or go see a specialist. Like, this is just talking to a professional while you're on the floor playing with your kid. And it's just a really just light environment. And then we also have Help Me Grow has a resource table there. So if they were interested in participating in doing a screening, or they just come up and say, hey, like, do you know of any mom groups or support groups or whatever the case may be? Yes, here's my card. Connect with me, and we'll talk about it together and figure out what it is that you need.
And this is for little ones, right? We're talking infants and toddlers.
Yes.
Which can be daunting as a new parent or as a parent with little older children. You think, oh my gosh, taking my baby to the library, are they gonna cry? Am I gonna have to go change a diaper? But it sounds like it's a very welcoming environment.
It is. We started out with just a certain kit of all of the toys and things for them to play with there. And then we realized there's a lot of babies here. So we expanded that, and now we have a whole baby section for little ones, you know. And we have even had families reach out that says, you know, I have a 12-year-old that does more so function on this level. Can we bring her? Mm-hmm. Absolutely, you can bring her.
Okay.
Yeah.
We think of play, right? Like, it's easy to picture a 3, 4, 5, 7-year-old playing. What does a baby look like when they're playing?
It is just about encouraging them, looking in a mirror, shaking something, a rattle, hearing the noises, looking at how they're reacting to it. And then also that brings me to everything that we have available at the play group aligns with all of the questions that are in that ASQ screening. So when a family is looking on there, they may think, I'm not really sure what my baby does when I put a little mirror in front of him or her, because that's something that is listed on that screening. We have all of the tools there that they can really actually implement that and see their children doing it to know how they really are falling on that scale.
So you're making that connection for families. So the ASQ is an ages and stages questionnaire that many pediatricians or health clinics might use to start a conversation about their child's development. And so I think what you're suggesting is, as a new parent, as a parent of several children, you may not think like, oh my gosh, I have to look, how is my baby holding a book? Or what are they doing when I'm, giving them a toy to dump in or dump out? And but you've got that all right there.
Yeah, and when you're doing that at home, I know it can be, you've got a million other things to worry about at home. And so if you're even required to fill that out by the pediatrician, which some do, you may look at it like, well, I think this is what they would do. And then they can actually demonstrate it. And you can encourage it,
And all of that is so developmentally appropriate.
Yes.
But to be clear, this is not a screening event. Nobody's watching the children to see how they're performing or acting.
It would only even be suggested if the family was indicating like conversation that that may be something that was necessary for them, or that they would be interested in doing. Anybody could take the ASQ for their child, even if they are typically developing and have no concerns. It's also just kind of fun.
Just fun to see the growth and the development.
Yeah.
So I'm talking with Payton Summers from Help Me Grow Porter County, and we're thinking about all the different resources available to families with young children. Payton, I know that one of the important pieces of Help Me Grow is the follow-up that takes place. If a family were to call you and you were to provide them with a phone number or a suggestion about somebody to contact, then what happens?
Then we give them a couple weeks, and then we will call them back and ask them, were you able to make that connection? How did that go? Was that an appropriate resource for you? Are you getting what you need? Is there anything more that we can do?
I see. That's wonderful to have that just closing the loop, right? So families don't feel like if they had a challenge, they may not want to call you back, but you're able to kind of check in and see how things are going.
Yeah. Yeah, let them know we're still here.
We're still here.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I know many families and parents feel like they have to do it all on their own. Just if I admit that I need some help, it feels like I'm admitting weakness. When we know that asking for help is really a strength. How do you help parents to understand that or kind of get past that misperception?
I think when we're talking, it just kind of naturally flows that like everybody needs this. Everybody needs someone to look to, someone to turn to, that you can pick up the phone. They really can just pick up the phone to call me and say, like, I'm just losing my mind today. We all have those days, and letting them know this is normal. What you're feeling is normal. Everybody goes through it. Nobody has it all together. Nobody's judging that on our end. And just what can we do to take a little bit of the weight off your shoulders?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've talked before with others who suggest that, stressful parents kind of lead to some outcomes that maybe we don't necessarily want to have. If you have a sense that a parent is really seeking some additional support, you have those resources at your fingertips, right? Mm-hmm. To send them.
Yes. I think it's so important. It starts with the mental health of the parent as to how that's going to go with that relationship with the child. So yeah, I think we have a lot of resources surrounding that. And again, some may seem more formal, and some are just a group that you can go to, or a place that's going to provide you with a person that's going to call and check in on you and make sure that you're doing okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
How has your experience as a mom helped you to be the fairy godmother that you are?
I think just as I had just discussed a little bit, sometimes it can be really hard to admit that you are lacking somewhere, or that you don't have any idea what you're doing and you're just kind of going through it, or that you're struggling, whether that's mentally, financially, or you can't find work, or whatever anybody's case may be. I've experienced a lot of things, and I think it just really ties me to the mission to know if I could have just picked up the phone and had somebody that felt like a friend on the other end of that, I probably would have utilized it. I also rationalize with these parents where they feel like it's hard to reach out and ask for help. That's why I really enjoy going into places and talking with moms groups and things like that, because I think it just makes it a little bit more of a warm invitation for them to want to call.
A familiar face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We know those first 1,000 days are so critically important for brain and language development, for early relational health. How do you feel like Help Me Grow is supporting all of those things: brain development, language development, early relational health?
I think there's so many things involved. There is the talking is teaching. That's like helping with that language and brain development. There are the mental health resources and groups that we have and support for that really, I think, builds a strong foundation for the early relational health. It starts with the parents, as well. And I think just us as a community, we're involved in all of these meetings and groups together, and we are constantly striving to say, how can we support one another in supporting our community? And I think there's just really endless possibilities.
You sound very hopeful about the future for all of our babies in Northwest Indiana.
Yeah, I am. I really am.
When you think about your life and you talk about becoming a mom and all of those, that started with your own first 1,000 days. If you look back, can you identify people or individuals in your life who really just were madly crazy in love with you and that had that positive early relational health?
Yeah, of course. I would think of like my grandma, who still to this day is the person that I know that I can call no matter what it is or what the situation is. She's somebody that I know I can always fall back on without judgment or barrier. She's like, whatever it is, she is a person that I can go to, and it's really important and comforting to have.
So she taught you trust and safety and she helped you to know that the world was a good place to be.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be amazing if every baby had that for all of our babies, that they could be supported in that way?
Yes, absolutely.
Payton, as you think about next steps for Help Me Grow, what are you and the team, what have you got in the works? What have you got planned?
We have some different things. I will love to create something that is a community event for parents and all families. Would love to look into that. Parent Cafe, stay tuned on that. We're in early conversations about it. But I think that'll be really exciting to actually connect with real people and help give them a safe space to just talk about what they're going through. And it will be prompted questions and topics and conversations. And then aside from that, another way to reach families, a major goal is to be able to make connection with every family that has a baby in Porter County. That'll be huge. Like, let's start that off with just letting them know right from the beginning, you have a support system no matter what. Reach out when you need us.
That's about the strengthening our ecosystem that we have for parents and for new families.
Yeah.
As we think about wrapping up today, what advice do you have for parents, especially those expecting parents, but also those parents who are just in that what we call the fourth trimester, those first couple of weeks where you're not getting any sleep and you're not sure if life is ever going to go back to normal again? What would you tell those families?
If you feel like you need someone to talk to, if you feel like you might benefit from some additional assistance or guidance or support, just call, just do it, and then we'll figure out together how we can help take some of that stress off of you. There's nothing to be ashamed of when it comes for asking for help. Or, like I said earlier, just saying, I'm losing it over here and I just need somebody to talk to. We'll get through it. We'll figure out what is out there for you, what's going to make things easier for you and make you feel supported.
It's truly wonderful, the service that you're providing. It's clear that you love what you do. We're so fortunate to have you and the Help Me Grow team available to our families.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Look forward to seeing you grow with Help Me Grow.
Me too. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for spending time with us today.
Of course.
Legacy Foundation is Lake County's community foundation. For over 30 years, we've partnered with donors and nonprofits, focusing on youth development, the arts, the environment, health, literacy, and other causes that matter to you. We're committed to Lake County forever. First Things First Porter County is dedicated to supporting families, healthy beginnings, and quality early learning, ensuring every Porter County baby is born prepared for a strong start in life. Learn more at firstthingspc.org.
I have a very strong connection to other students. Everyone makes an effort to help each other. I'll remember the feeling of being here, the feeling that I was a part of a family.
Additional support for Building Blocks is provided generously by Tom Sorlis and Sue Eleuterio, as well as Porter County Community Foundation, serving Porter County since 1996.
Building Blocks, the podcast, is a co-production of Lakeshore Public Media and First Things First Porter County. For more information on Building Blocks, including this podcast, as well as the television show, visit lakeshorepublicmedia.org/buildingblocks.